Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So this is a follow-up video about 3 to 4 days later with the Vivo Nex S. And I want to talk about this video, the battery life, the performance, and the cameras and things like that. I've been testing a lot in the last 4 days of owning this device, and I've been more than impressed. So let's kick this video off. All right, folks, I'm going to start with the most important part of this phone. One of the most important parts of this phone is the display. The display on this thing is 6.6 inches. Basically, it says 6.59. It's a 1080p display, and the screen to body ratio is like 86% or something like that. But that's not important. What's important is the bezel. The bezels on here are probably one of the phones that has hardly no bezels. It is a beautiful, gorgeous 1080p display, and the reason being is because it's a Super AMOLED display. And I've really been enjoying watching videos and things on this, and just streaming content. It's been absolutely fantastic. The screen on this thing is definitely going to impress you, not because it's really big, because the phone is actually a little bit smaller than a little bit taller than the iPhone XS Max. And it's about the same size as a Galaxy Note as far as height goes, but it's a really narrow phone, so it feels really good in the hand. But the screen is immersive, and I'm pretty sure it's not just because it's a Super AMOLED, but it's just an immersive display because there's no cutout at the top, and you know what that's called. And on the bottom, very little chin at the bottom, and it just makes for a great experience. And to me, it just lets us know that eventually the chin on the bottom area, it will be removed. And we'll just have this full screen, because this phone, as you can see at the top, there's no speaker, and I'll get to that in a little bit when I talk about phone calls. But the screen, absolutely gorgeous. Now, speaking of no speaker, I'm going to fast forward to that part because I got to get this off. So remember the Mi Mix, that technology that they used? Well, it's kind of the same thing in here. There's absolutely no speaker grill at the top of this phone. So when you're making phone calls, the screen is doing the haptic feedback or vibrations coming from the screen, the motor inside the device, and it's going to project out the sound from where you can hear people when they're talking to you. It's absolutely fantastic. To me, they did it right. There's no other way to say that. This is such a better experience than the Mi Mix that I had. It's absolutely great. Not the second one, but the first one. I just had the worst experience with that speaker. It was just horrible. But this right here, people can't even tell. Like, everything about it is just great. I can hear everything super clear. Phone calls are crystal clear. No problems at all, man. It is turned out to be way better than I thought it was, because I was very hesitant about that part of the phone, because I don't like to use a plug-in headphone or use Bluetooth when I'm making phone calls. I like to just hold it to my face. And this is absolutely fantastic. So if you're worried about how the sound quality is going to be, don't worry. In my opinion, and I have a little bit older ears than some people on YouTube, it sounds fantastic. Now, let's jump over to the cameras. Now, the cameras, the most exciting part is when people see this thing pop up like this, they get excited about it. That's an exciting part for people right there. Let's get back on me. It's exciting to see the camera pop up. People love that. But after a while, that wears off, and you start to look at the quality of the cameras, and the quality of these cameras are absolutely fantastic in my opinion. Now, I did a front-facing video, and when I did the camera samples review of these cameras, and the front-facing video, it's a 2.4 aperture, so it's got a nice wide angle on it, but the 2.4 aperture, it seems a little flat at times. Depending on the lighting, has to be really good. And the way I fixed that was I don't have very bright lighting like this, and the phone really shines on the front-facing video or photos. It darkens it up where it needs to be, because on that video that I did, after I looked at it again, I felt like it was just too bright in the room with the front camera, and it was having trouble struggling trying to get that good, clear, accurate colors for video. But I've learned that from using this phone over the last 4 days, you can't have it too bright. At least I feel like it doesn't need to be too bright in the area. Natural sunlight or natural bright lights, just the natural area. No special lighting is really needed, and this front camera will shine. Now, as far as the rear camera goes, a lot of you guys said that the 4K on this phone is a little too saturated compared to the 1080p. And 1080p is always going to be good in most cases, man. 1080p footage should be really good, but 4K is still kind of an uphill climb, if you will, because 4K on most people aren't doing 4K. Like there's no 4K displays to watch this stuff on as far as cell phones go and tablets. So we rely upon the monitors that we currently have. Now I have a 5K monitor and also a 4K monitor and a 2K monitor, and to me it looks fantastic on there. But if you're not able to watch it on the actual native resolution with the specific device, it's gonna look a little different. But to me the 4K looks great, and the 1080p, it does look great too. So knowing that, the cameras on this thing, it exceeded my expectations, and there's no other way to say that. These cameras are great for what they are. Now I want to talk about battery life. I've been waiting to talk about battery life. Okay, so if you follow me on social media, Mr. J.L. Williams, everywhere on social media, you'll know that this phone pulled down over a day and got 10 hours of screen on time, over 10 hours of screen on time. And I'm averaging right now, so I got that 10 hours of screen on time, then I got some 8 hours of screen on time. So I'm averaging about 8.5, 9 hours of screen on time, pretty much on every charge. I took screenshots along the way and some final screenshots, and I'm just impressed with this battery. This battery is a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. And some people said, oh, it's gonna have great battery because it's only a 1080p display. Well, I've tested my Galaxy Notes at 1080p and they still didn't get, even my Note 9 did not get 8 hours of screen on time testing at 1080p. It just didn't do it. And you can, most phones now, you can tone the display down or change the resolution. But in any event, I have a lot of 1080p displays, and nearly none of them can grab 10 hours of screen on time and average 9 hours of screen on time. That's for real. It's just not happening. So the battery life on this thing, if you were worried about battery life, and it has fast charging. So it does come with a fast charger in there, and the one that I got, but it's a universal, it's a European charger, but they put an adapter in there. Here, let me get the adapter, one sec. This is all that it is. They just give you the plug to go on the adapter, and you can charge it that way. But I actually have a fast charger already, so I don't even take that one out the box. But battery life is going to impress you folks. There's no way that a person should not get, and I mean, I did extensive, I was on it like crazy. Like it got over a day, like really over 24 hours before I had to charge. And then I got 10 hours or more, or 8 hours or more, 9 hours. It's crazy how great this battery is. I just can't even go on anymore. The battery life, win. So the fingerprint reader in the screen. Now this is a unique feature that is not on a lot of phones, but Vivo actually has several phones with an in-screen fingerprint reader. But these phones are not technically being sold in the US. You have to use my link in the description to get yours. They work in the US though, that's the thing. But these things aren't meant to work, these phones aren't meant to be sold in the US, but the in-screen fingerprint reader, I found it to not be finicky. It's just a matter of how you set it up and how hard you press on the screen. So I've seen some videos of people saying that it's really bad, it's not really good. And it's only a 50-50 chance that it'll open up. But what I've learned is that you just have to not press so hard, and it'll probably work 90% of the time. That's a really high percentage for something that a lot of phones don't have. And that's just what it is. The fingerprint reader, to me, it works. Now the internals of a phone are great. This phone scores really high on benchmarks. It's like number 2 on the list. It's like 288,000, if that means something to you. But this phone has 8 gigs of RAM inside, and it has 128 gigs onboard storage. You can also get a 256 gig option. But the Snapdragon 845 in here, coupled with that 8 gigs of RAM, this combination is fantastic, folks. Performance is going to be off the charts, and I just don't see a person disliking this phone for very many reasons. I mean, we could nitpick about things and say, oh, it doesn't have an IP rating, it's not waterproof, it doesn't have wireless charging, all those things. But those things are not things that you have to have. You don't have to have an IP rating. You don't have to have wireless charging. And you really don't need wireless charging with a phone like this because the battery is so big and the performance on the battery is so great. It's fantastic. It does have mobile payments in here. And I was looking for the NFC in here, but it does have a section for mobile payments. And for those that want to make mobile payments, it is there. But overall, folks, I've just been excited to finally get my phone in. I mean, I waited 2 or 3 weeks to get this phone. And it was just a matter of shipping time. You know, like it shipped overnight to me. For those that always ask about GearBest, side note, for those that always ask about GearBest and say, oh, is it safe? I buy all these phones from GearBest. Now, when you're buying, I've said this in another video, when you're buying, you have to pay attention to the ship time. So it'll say if you're buying today, doesn't ship until 2 weeks later. And that's all the case is with this phone. I bought it on a flash sale for $639 or something like that when it was $639 or $679 or something like that. And be sure to check the updated price with the link in the description when you decide to buy yours. But you have to pay attention to when it's going to ship, not how long it's going to take to ship, because I've always told you guys when you're buying from GearBest, always choose DHL Express. You will get your phone like the next day once it ships or within 2 days. Every time. I have never had a phone ship and take 5 to 6 days like it says on the thing. It's always 1 day or 2 days every time. So it may have sat like it may have took 2 weeks for it to actually ship. However, once it shipped, I had it the next day, and so that was boss. And that's side note for those people who worry about GearBest so much, but it's legit. This phone came from Hong Kong or China, wherever it came from, and once it shipped, I got it the next day. Or the longest I've waited was 2 days, and once it shipped, and that's it. But overall, folks, man, this is a winner right here. So people who've never experienced, you know, a phone like this, and I've been getting a lot of comments like, Jay, I would have never known about this phone if you would have never put it on your channel, because a lot of people aren't reviewing these in the US. Well, some side notes about this phone: it comes with a screen. I actually had ordered some tempered glass, and I thought, wow. But it comes with a rear and front screen protector, and they're quality little plastic screen protectors. You can't even tell. It's really, really nice. It's really good. So, you know, the performance on here is running 8.1, and I didn't touch on that very much because, again, it has 8 gigs of RAM with a Snapdragon 845, and it's pushing a 1080p display. The performance is fantastic. I haven't had a hiccup. I'm testing Pixel Launcher on here because, again, there were some people that saying you couldn't change the launcher, but obviously you could change the launcher. I got a different icon pack on here. And, you know, it's just a lot. Now, I'll do another video on gestures and things like that because there's a lot of features in this phone that are just kind of tucked away. So I'll feature that in another video, but I had to give you some kind of update on this phone because it is absolutely stunning, man. This is easily my daily driver. If you want to know my daily drivers currently right now, this is number one. Now this isn't ranking the phones, but my main SIM card is in here, and it has been since I got it. The G7 has my second SIM, and my iPhone has my third SIM. So this phone easily is a smash. It's crazy. It's a hit. It is a smash hit to me. I haven't found anything that I dislike about this phone. Just like that. So it's your man Jay Will. I hope you enjoyed the update, man. I will give you a follow-up video as well. For those that are considering purchasing this phone, if you want to help my channel out, use my link below. And I think right now my link has one of the lowest prices on this phone right here. So consider that as well. But I'm really happy that I finally got it in, man. And again, I don't buy phones for technically just to review. I buy them to use them. So even though I have my iPhones and stuff like that, even though I have all these other phones, this phone right here is definitely a winner. It is a winner in my book, and I can easily use this as a daily driver because of the big screen, because of the design, the form factor, the cameras, the battery is just boss. I don't have to charge for over a day. It feels great, man. So it's your man Jay Will. I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed. Take care. Can we do it? Can we do it?